What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Al.S Gaming. Today we will be doing a banner review as well as a quick news update. And all I can say is well played, Gumi, because all of us thought that we would be getting the Nier banner next. Not only that, it's because we've been getting, we haven't had a raid event in quite some time. So we all expected a Nier banner because it's a raid event, but turns out we're going to have another dungeon/story event again, which is very weird. And yeah, it's going to force a lot of players to pull because the units are actually really good. So yeah, let's just get right into it. First, let's just look at the whole event. We'll be getting a few exclusives, as you can see in your in-game news. I'm not going to go too much into it because there isn't a question of whether you should get it or not, because most of you will be running the event anyway and you will end up getting it. So yeah, the equipment overall, they're pretty decent, especially for new players as well as old players. They tie in really well with the new characters, specifically Veritas of the Dark, if you're going to call him that. So other than that, let's just get into the characters. So the first unit we'll be going through is Timothy, which is your 3-star base. In my opinion, he's not very good, and I'm not going to bother going too much into his skills because no one's going to use a 3-star base going all the way to 5-star, but his TMR, or his Trust Master, is actually pretty decent. It gives you 35 magic as well as 35 spirit and MP plus 15%. Now I can think of Tilith who might benefit from this because that MP plus 15 will add to her overall regen, and that's actually pretty good. If you can get her to regen more than 99 or at least 99 every turn, you essentially have infinite MP. Not only that, plus 35 spirit can be very good because sometimes pure stats are better than percentage. For example, if your stat is, for example, 300 and you have a 10% increase in stats, that gives you a 3% increase in terms of stats. But if you were to have an item or a piece of equipment that gives you 4 stats, just pure raw stats, that technically is better. So you will have to play around with this to see which characters this would fit really good on, but as a TMR on its own, I think it's pretty good. Next we have Victoria, which is our first 4-star base. She's a mage and she also is pretty good, in my opinion at least. So she gets dual black magic, and that's the reason why I'm saying that dual cast is no longer as important in the whole meta, because we're getting more and more units with innate dual cast. So yeah, dual black magic allows her to cast her spells twice if you don't already know, and she gets stuff like Dark, Biora, Dakura, which is like basically just does dark damage. She gets Firegar, Gravigar, Darkgar, Firejar, and Meteor. So she has access to some really strong spells which she can dual cast. And not only that, she has Store Magic, which boosts her attack by 200% for the next turn, as well as Magical Fall, which is basically a debuff of Magic and Spirit by 40% for 2 turns to all enemies. But what's really interesting for me is her skill Overflow, and that's basically dark damage 2.2 multiplier, but it's very similar to Emperor or Dark Fina, where you can build it up over time. And with every use, she gets 1.2 times extra damage, if I'm not wrong, and it stacks a maximum of 7 times. So if you calculate that, and if I did my calculations correctly, you should be able to end up with a 10.6-ish multiplier with every use if you stack it up 7 times without dying. So that's actually pretty damn high. So you can pretty much so you can play around with this, in my opinion. It's a shame you can't dual cast this, but I guess it would be broken if you could. But I think this makes her pretty strong as a unit. Next we have Veritas of the Earth. He's basically another 4-star going all the way to 6-star, and in my opinion he's pretty good as well. He functions as a tank, and if you don't have a decent tank like Cecil or War of Light or Wilhelm, he's actually pretty good. His Trust Master is a Materia, and basically it gives you 40% defense when equipped with a heavy shield, as well as 40% attack when equipped with heavy armor. So this gives you some usability in terms of overall attack, and it makes him very tanky when it comes to physical damage. We don't actually have all the skills in English right now, so I'm just going to follow the whole Japanese one. So let's look at his skills. First up, when his HP drops below 30%, he gets 100% boost to his defense as well as spirit. And on top of that, he will absorb all earth damage, so that basically gives him a way to heal himself up. He also has innate counter, a 30% chance. On top of that skill, he gets a 3-turn AoE 100 stat debuff for your whole team, so that prevents you from having your stats reduced in trials such as, I think, the Echidna, or is it Octopus Teacher, one of them, that basically reduces your stats. This will be very useful in my opinion, and on top of that, he can counter. He has a 30% chance to counter, which will be multiplied by 2 if I'm not wrong later on, so that's a total of 60% if I calculated that correctly, or if I think that's the way it works. So he has another skill which basically buffs your whole team's earth resistance by 100% for 3 turns. Now this will be very useful in terms of certain trials as well as upcoming trials which do earth damage. 100% basically means you're not going to be taking any damage from any earth elemental things. Or in the arena, if let's say you're facing off against an Eileen and she has Artisan on, if you were to use this, you're not going to take any damage. Lastly, he has a AoE single hit 270% damage, and basically for 2 turns it's 100% provoke. So yeah, if you need to provoke, I think this is superior to Warrior of Light's one because Warrior of Light's provoke only lasts 1 turn if I'm not wrong. So if you need something something to last a bit longer, you can use him. So next we have our 5-star bases. First we are looking at Fire Lord. Basically his materia, or his Trust Mastery, is a materia that gives you plus 30% attack when equipped with an X, and extra 30% attack when equipped with heavy armor, so a total of plus 60%. So it's very similar to Dark Knight Soul, except with a high multiplier by I think 10% if you want to consider it. His limit burst will basically do 270% single target fire damage, which also ignores 50% defense, and yeah, that's about it. It's simple, just damage. He gets access to spells such as Firegar and probably Fire Jar if I'm not wrong. I can't exactly read Japanese right now. But on top of that, he has very similar skills to Earth Veritas in the sense that he's able to absorb fire damage when his HP drops below 30%. But on top of that, his attack increases by 150%. So I know in JP some people have played around with this, whereby they drop his HP low enough, and then because of the attack buff, he's able to OTK a lot of things. Next, he has a skill which basically reduces your enemy's fire resistance by 50%, as well as enchant your weapons with fire element. Now this is very good in my opinion because it basically gives any weapon fire element. I'm not sure how this mechanic works on dual wield, whether both weapons will get it or only the one in the left hand or right hand, but still, the immediate damage boost because by 50% at least, because you're reducing their resistance as well as doing fire damage immediately. Other notable skills would be an AoE 3-turn 20% damage reduction to your whole team, so he pretty much functions as a support here and there where you need him. He gets plus 50% attack when equipped with an Axe, so if you have Trust Mastery plus this, I think that's a total of 120% if you have heavy armor as well as an Axe. He's 100% resist to blind, paralyze and petrify, and he gets an AoE 3-turn attack and magic boost to your whole team. So once again, he can function as a support if you really need to. Finally, he has another skill which gives you a 30% chance to counter physical damage or magical damage, as well as grants you a skill which basically does a 500% single target physical attack which ignores 50% defense. So yeah, you have a chance to get access to a nuke. Lastly, we have Veritas of the Dark Lord as most of us would call him, and 5-star base going all the way to 6-star again. His Trust Mastery is a materia, if you haven't already realized, and it gives you plus 30% when plus 30% attack when equipped with a great sword, and plus 30% attack when an additional 30% attack when equipped with a heavy armor. So basically you have a total of plus 60% in terms of overall attack. In terms of skill, when his HP drops below 30%, he gets Dark Absorb, so he has a free heal when hit with dark attacks, as well as a 100% attack boost and a 100% defense boost. So he's sort of a hybrid between Earth Lord as well as Fire Lord in this sense. He gets Osmos Blade, so in case you're running low on MP, you have some sustain right there. He has a 20% chance to counter with 100% Dark Imperil, which is very good, because he has a skill which also will reduce dark resistance by 50%. So if you counter with this particular skill, it's basically an extra 50% damage on top of your original Imperil. And as I have just mentioned, his Dark Imperil comes with a 200% multiplier as well as a 7-hit attack and ignore 50% defense. So he can chain pretty well with himself, and yeah, if you give him, I think, Deathbringer, basically Dark Knight Cecil's TMR, it's going to help him a lot, or it's going to fit really nice on him. He gets an additional 50% attack when equipped with a greatsword, so plus his TMR, that gives you a total of 110% extra attack if you equip him with the right armor as well as weapon. Lastly, if you don't have any dark element weapons, which you probably should have because the event is going to give you a free one, yeah, he has a single target 200% attack and basically ignores 50% defense and gives your weapon dark damage. His limit burst basically is a 270% 20-hit dark physical attack with a 40% defense debuff. Now if you were to bring this all the way up to level 25, it will do a 390% multiplier instead, as well as a negative 64% defense debuff. Now this is really good in my opinion, and if you have access to this, you will be using it whenever you can. So the question is, should you pull or should you not pull for this banner? Personally, I am not really going to hard pull for this banner. I might just do a few daily pulls, a few tickets here and there. And the reason is, these units are not limited, because once they come in, they're going to be in a pool forever. You have a chance of getting them eventually if you're really lucky. But given that the near banner is coming up, they are going to be limited time only, so I'd rather hard pull for those. And as compared to this banner, a very good case to illustrate this would be the Brave Frontier banner. Some people decided not to pull, and now they're regretting it because they don't have Tilith, and she's probably not going to come back unless maybe you have some sort of People's Choice banner. But if not, good luck, because you're going to have to wait all the way till Ayaka comes out. And yeah, so that's the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you're going to pull for these guys or you're going to wait for the near banner. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Even if you didn't, give me a thumbs up because that'd be fun. And remember to subscribe for more future content.